Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another video, and this is the first of two requests for Alban. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry for people who are waiting for the requests. I'm trying to get to these as soon as I possibly can, but I do really thank you guys. For people interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. I'll try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. And thank you for those who have. I really do appreciate it. So the first one is for The Searchers, a 1956 Western directed by John Ford, who, God, you look him up, he's done a huge, I think he did over 130 movies or so. Considered one of the best directors of all time, especially of the Western era. And of course it stars John Wayne. Other people that were recognizable, Jeffrey Hunter, which I didn't realize he was in this. He played Captain Pike in the original Star Trek pilot, and then they went and switched him up for Captain Kirk, William Shatner. But Jeffrey Hunter was the original captain of the Enterprise, so I didn't realize he was in this. Also, Vera Miles, who was in the original Psycho, she's in this. And The Searchers is pretty much known as one of the best movies of all time, and especially one of the best westerns of all time. The story being John Wayne is this guy named Ethan. He was with the Confederacy, but after they've lost, he spent time elsewhere. He has come back to see his brother and his family. His brother has a wife named Martha. Why do you say that name, Martha? And they have a couple kids. They have a boy. They have an older daughter named Lucy and a younger daughter named Debbie. And they have a little dog too. So he goes to see them. There's also Debbie and Lucy, them have an adopted brother named Martin, who I believe they said was 1/8 Cherokee. Martin is played by Jeffrey Hunter. Now you really get this idea pretty quickly that John Wayne's character, he's a racist. He's also a very vengeful man. He does not like the Comanche at all. So even if this guy's 1/8, he's like giving him the stink eye and all that. One thing leads to another. These guys come in saying, hey, there's some cattle being stolen. We need some help. John Wayne says, you stay here. I'll go with them. Martin, Jeffrey Hunter, I'll just say his character's name Martin. He goes along. They find out it's a trick. By the time they get back, the whole place has been burnt to the ground. The family has been killed, except the two sisters and the dog. The dog is still there, and the two sisters have been kidnapped. And then the rest of the film is John Wayne and Jeffrey Hunter, and for a little bit, this other guy who's one of the older sister's boyfriend. They go on this search to find the Comanches and try to get these girls back. Now, before I start, the thing with John Wayne, I of course knew John Wayne, like who he is. I knew of his movies. I guess the best way to put it is, back in the day, there's someone that I knew personally who was a big John Wayne guy. And things fell through with that person where I really, really, really disliked the person. And I just didn't even want to check out John Wayne movies because of that. Kind of guilty by association. Now, I have seen a couple, and like Rio Bravo. I did see Rio Bravo. I don't have that fucking movie now on Blu-ray. I just realized it. But I really did like Rio Bravo. I think I saw the other one that was kind of like a remake. I saw the one that came out later, Rio. I forgot what it was called now. I didn't like it nearly as much. The Green Berets, I know I saw a long time ago, and I remember I was trying to be a much more patriotic version of Vietnam, which is kind of, weird to see after what we know of Vietnam. I do remember bits and pieces of True Grit. So I've seen some throughout the years. And John Wayne, I do like as a personality. He's got that machismo gusto. He's got that swagger. He's got that way of talking. Well, listen here, Pilgrim. Why don't you get out of town? He has that voice. He has that mannerism. If someone tries to imitate it and they do a decent job, that's John Wayne. He was unique to him. Now, as a person, I don't know. I've heard different things. Some people say he was fairly racist in real life. I know they had quotes about what he said about Native Americans that weren't the best. So, people say, oh, is John Wayne playing himself? I don't know the details. I'll bring it up because some people may have that as a talking point. I don't know for certain. I wasn't there, never met John Wayne, I don't know. I will say I did like him as, again, personality. I know I have the Preacher comic books, and the guy who is the lead, his hero, his guy that he met, he always imagines this guy talking to them as John Wayne. Like, they couldn't say the name John Wayne. It's the Duke. Like, it's the Duke. He ain't number one. He's the Duke. So I do like his personality. And do I think this is one of the best films I've ever seen and the best Western I've ever seen? No. There's other Westerns I would put above it. But I did like the film at the end of the day. I did like it. It's a beautiful looking film. Yes, there are times where there's certain campfire scenes and other scenes that you tell they shot in a studio. But there's a lot of beautiful wide vistas of the West that they really use the scope and they use the picture, the widescreen, however you want to put it. They use it expertly. And it's a really good looking film in those scenes. I'm sure this looks fantastic in 4K. Just looking at it when I was watching it on stream, it looked really good. And there's definitely a lot of deeper aspects you could get into with this film. Like I said, I liked it, but I wouldn't say I loved it. I did like Jeffrey Hunter. Of the people to root for, he was kind of the guy to root for. Plus, it was kind of cool to see Captain Pike in something that wasn't Star Trek, so that was kind of neat to see. I mean, it's a bit tough to get behind John Wayne's character because, I mean, when you look into it, he's not a good person in the movie. I mean, ultimately he is, but not really. Like I said, he treats his family well, that's his kin. But it's like, with history, it's like, okay, he was part of the Confederacy, and then he's a racist, he's a bigot, and it's not going to do one of those things where all of a sudden he's not a bigot anymore. No, that's not the case in this. So, I mean, it's a bit hard to root for him. But I guess that's kind of the point where he's a very flawed character. Part of you kind of thought, maybe part of you like wanted an actor that could maybe show a bit more of that conflicted flaws. while John Wayne, he knows how to be John Wayne fairly well, and this part's like, well, is he really the best guy for this role? Where you want to see a bit more dimension that the character seems he could employ. By the way, casting John Wayne, he was for a chunk of time Americana, and the man's man. And that's kind of reflected to how people were back in the day. That there a lot of people back in the day were bigoted and racist and was far away from civilization. And now civilization's kind of peeking at, knocked at the door, and whether you like it or not, is welcoming themselves in. Which I know that's things people could look into, but I wish the movie had to be a bit more abundant in that. Like almost, it's stuff that you kind of have to see between the lines. But to be honest, I kind of wish they incorporate some of that a bit more face value. Now the way it opens, like I didn't mind that, him coming in from out of the west, seeing his family, and you can really pick up on these early scenes. This I was fine with them kind of having in the background, but if you pay attention, something's up. Where there's bits where he'll say hi to his brother, but then it'll be him talking to his brother's wife, and you can see there's a bit of a connection. Now, a lot of other films, they'd be like, okay, here an up close, and John Wayne's giving a certain eye and look, and she's doing it back and forth. No, you see all this kind of way back. So people are doing this, but then you see like John Wayne give like a little kiss to her forehead, or he's getting ready to leave, and then she's staring outside, and guy's trying to leave. It kind of has to squeeze past her, but she keeps staring at him. But it's like from far away, so it's like it doesn't tell you like this, the message in your face, but you could gather two and two together that more than likely John Wayne and this girl had a fling back in the day, as she still feels that way about him. Which I was fine with that not being upfront, because when the massacre happens, the one name he says is Martha, not his brother's name. It says Martha, and that seems to be the thing that affects him the most. Which, again, is even more telling. So again, that I was fine with not being so in your face about it, not leading your hand along, not telling you directly, hey, look, he was fucking her back in the day, and now the cuckolding is done. No. Like that I was fine with. And that I thought, okay, that's actually a nice way to tell the story without having to tell the story. Do you get it? Type of thing. Like I said, it's a very good looking movie. And as the search goes on, when the action scenes happen, they're fair, they're fine. It's nothing that I didn't think the action was amazing or anything. I thought they were fine for what they were. But there's some nice staging of the camera. Like there's a bit where there's an opening of the cave, and you have like John Wayne here and Jeffrey Hunter here looking away, and then all in the middle you see the Native Americans coming towards them. That was some nice framing of certain shots. It doesn't shy away from how racist John Wayne's character is. Like when they find a Native American that's been buried and you see the animosity they have to the Native Americans. Here, the Cherokee, and John Wayne's like, well, "Why did you finish the job?" And he shoots. "What do you do that for?" "To you is nothing, but to that Comanche." I keep saying, do I keep saying Cherokee or is it Comanche? Because I keep thinking, because I think Martin's character is one of Cherokee, but I think they're hunting a Comanche. God, I keep screwing that up. I don't know why. Oh, not the same. No, I don't know. Because I'm fucking stupid, that's why. The Indians! You can't say the Indians. The Washington Redskins. Hey, they're bringing back the Washington Redskins because people are like, what is this other bullshit with this football team? Just bring. So, from what I heard, they are bringing back the Washington Redskins. So there you go. I should call them the Reds. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I should just say, hey, the change of the Redskins. The whole fucking review. But apparently, if you shoot in the eyes, they wander forever between the winds, based on what they believe in. And throughout it, like spoiler for a film from the 50s, spoilers. Some things happen where they did some battles. They find in a camp, but it's empty and it's a bit of an ambush. And they're going to the water. They're firing back and forth. Then some of them leave, and it's just John Wayne, Jeffrey Hunter, and this other guy. They search for a bit. And it's not until later that John Wayne tells them, "I found the older girl, Lucy, and she was killed." And the guy asks, "Well, was there anything else done?" And I thought John Wayne did a good job here. I thought this was actually a good part of his performance where, "What do you want me to do? Draw you a picture? Spell it out for you? As long as you live, don't ask me more." So the inclination of not only was she killed, but she was more likely. And then that guy runs off, and they just hear gunshots, and yeah, he didn't make it. Bye, Felicia. He didn't make it. I would say after that, it kind of, I don't know, felt like it meandered a bit. Where, okay, they go back because it's the winter time, and that's where you meet Vera Miles, and then she has to hop for Jeffrey Hunter and vice versa. And then, okay, we gotta go see this guy who may know some information, and he pays the guy, but the guy tries to fuck him over, so John Wayne uses Jeffrey Hunter as bait and shoots him in the back. There's this guy who they keep running into, who's a friend of John Wayne's character. The character's like Moses Harper. He, I thought, was annoying. He tries to be like comic relief, where he's like an imbecile, he's a nitwit. And like earlier on, he's trying to doing that, and like he's talking, but then you can tell he's an idiot. But he's like there to be funny. Later on, much later in the film, he gives them important information as to where the last person, Debbie, played by Natalie Wood, who would soon be in West Side Story, where she's at. But I just thought that guy was just irritating. Especially for a movie, for the most part, that's being pretty serious. And they try to put in comedy, like it's him, and then this captain who's also a reverend, and there's certain things he do. But him, I was more fine with his humor. Him, I could deal with more. I don't know why, the guy reminded me a little bit of Lee Marvin. I don't know why. But I didn't mind him, but the Moses Harper guy just got on my nerves. And ultimately they do, with the help of this guy in New Mexico, find the Indian star. Now, of course, there's a time where they don't cast Native Americans. So I think he's like some German guy. Uh, and you tell like the way he looks and his paint is like, he's not Native American. So you're like, it is 1956. It is what it is. Take it for what you will. I don't know why. Just randomly as I'm watching this, I kept thinking of that movie Thunderheart. I have no fucking idea why. Maybe because I do like that film. I haven't seen that film in forever with Val Kilmer, but I do remember liking Thunderheart. I don't know why I kept thinking of it. Well, this deals with Native Americans as well. Well, yeah. So they find Star, but they also find Debbie, played by Natalie Wood, and it's been, I forget how many years it's been on this search now. So Star lets them go. They try to figure out what to do next. Natalie Wood comes in and says, "Go away, go away. I'm here now. I'm with them now." And then John Wayne tries to kill her because in his mind, if she's I keep wanting to say fucking Cherokee, but I think it's Comanche. Yeah, I get confused because the one guy's one named Cherokee. It's Comanches, right? Yeah, Comanches. Okay. My own fucked up brain, not remembering that shit. Pretty important detail to remember. But she's like, oh, well, she's with the Comanches, then she can't live. And like Jeffrey Hunter, like he's the hero. He's the guy protecting her. And at this point, I'm like, wow, John Wayne, you're like a villain at this point. But yeah, flawed character where he's a bigot, he's a racist and all that. So Martin tries to protect her. John Wayne's ready to kill her. While that's happening, John Wayne gets wounded by the Comanche. They run off. They hold him off. And Martin gives him the third degree as he deserves. He's like, I hope you die. And John Wayne goes, that'll be the day. Which I will admit, I thought that was kind of a funny... Because he says that a couple times, that'll be the day. I thought that was a funny retort to that. Pretty much they go off, and they go, yeah, we found her, but she's a Comanche. The one guy, pretty much, I think there's this guy who's like part of the military that comes in to talk to the Reverend Captain guy and the others. And I'm like, this guy, there's something about him that seems familiar. There's like younger guy, a tin hut with his saber, his gun, his musket. I'm like, something familiar about this guy. I looked it up as John Wayne's son. I'm like, okay. He did remind me a little. Not the way he talks, but something about like there's something to this guy, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I should have figured it was John Wayne's son. Hey, is John Wayne going to get his family in there somehow? Why not? They find out where the Comanche are at. Martin says, listen, I'm going to go in, sneak in. John Wayne's like, well, it's your funeral. He goes in to rescue Debbie. Someone comes up behind him. He turns around and shoots him. And I don't know, the last battle just seemed very anticlimactic for a 2-hour running time. Just kind of they run in. John Wayne shoots a couple. He hasn't killed the main one Star. It was, I think, Martin that did it. Is it just John Wayne kind of rides for 10 seconds, goes in, scalps the guy, of course off screen, because they're not going to show it. Then chases after Debbie. They don't think he's going to kill her. Instead, he sweeps her off her feet and goes, let's go home. And I think that's what kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy him change his mind. Now, I know what people will say who are big fans and they looked into it deeply, where you might infer that maybe this is his character, Ethan's daughter. Because it's a bit early on when he rides off, before the family gets massacred. He rides off, and Martha's there, and the one person next to her is the little girl, Debbie. Almost as if it's a mother and daughter watching their dad ride away. I think John Ford did that on purpose, to try and make you think. And she's around the same age as he's been gone for 8 years, and she's about that age, and although then I will like a couple scenes of John Wayne's character like talking to her specifically. I mean, he gives her something because she said, well, you gave her this, why you give me something? But maybe like, I don't know, a few more moments where a certain look, a certain something that give a bit more meaning to that theory. And again, like, he was so gung-ho to kill her, and even then it's like, nah, they at first they weren't going to let Martin sneak in. He was just going to ride in and shoot up the place. Between that time and here, which is a matter of, I don't know, 15 minutes, now all of a sudden you change your mind? Yeah, I won't kill her, let's go home. I didn't buy it. I did not buy it. I can't help it. I didn't buy his change of heart. Throughout the film, I don't think enough stuff was done to make us really believe that John Wayne's character would change his opinion on that. Whether he saw that maybe some Comanche aren't that bad, or there's other Native Americans aren't that bad, or there's moments he thinks of his Martha, or like moments that he learns on this journey, on this search, to make him maybe a teeny bit more civilized, or like, you don't really have a lot of that in that I didn't see. You didn't have a lot of that in this movie. You can infer it because it's one of your favorite films, be my guess, but I don't think a lot of that was in the movie in terms of him changing his mind to, no, I'm not going to kill her. So that, because I didn't buy it, that kind of hurt the movie for me. Because that's a very essential part. Now, I did like the ending, and I get what is inferred, where he brings her back, and you see, like, Martin with this girl, Vera Miles, that he likes, and Natalie Wood and them, they all go in, and, like, they don't even pay attention to John Wayne. He kind of hesitates going through the door, and then he turns around, just walks the other way. Kind of like civilization is there, he's not there, and he walks the other way. Now, you never really get a notion that he regrets his actions, or he has a second thought to what he's doing. But I mean, it's a cool looking shot, and yeah, you can infer nice way to end the movie. But yeah, it's just for entertainment value, I would say I like Young Guns more, Tombstone more. For movies that make me think about the deeper psychology of the character, I think Unforgiven did that better. Because Clint Eastwood, maybe because I grew up with him more, I do think he was the better actor. Now, I don't mind John Wayne's persona. And I don't think he was a bad actor. Because, again, there were moments he had, I was talking about where, what do you want me to do, draw you a picture? Some nice emotion. And there's some funny moments, too, when Jeffrey Hunter accidentally buys a wife, and it's like, you got yourself a wife, sonny. But Clint Eastwood, I think, there are moments where he had that kind of, could have that sad emotional contemplation, like in Unforgiven. that really hit a bit deeper level. Now, I don't know if John Wayne would be wanting to do that, or maybe he didn't always have the people willing to do that for him. I don't know. I would say like Rio Bravo I like more. I would say, which I know John Wayne hated this film, I'd probably say I like High Noon more. I would probably say, yeah, I liked High Noon more, which I did. John Wayne despised that film. He thought it was un-American. Like, a sheriff don't ask people for help. He can't do it on his own. He's a coward. But I would say I liked High Noon more. But again, The Searchers I like. I liked the film. I just don't love the film. And that's all I can say. So at this point, thanks for watching. I still have to watch The Sons of Katie Elder, which is the other film that he wanted me to review, which does have Dean Martin in it, which is cool, because I liked seeing them together in Rio Bravo. So we'll see how this film goes. Never seen Sons of Katie Elder before. I'll get to that when I can. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.